Hi, I'm Sharon.
And I'm Keith.
And welcome to Reels Across the World. So in this episode, we are talking about travelling to La Paz and our time in La Paz. We caught the night bus from La Uni after we'd done the salt flats, and there was quite a few people who'd done the same trip. We did a lot of research, and so we decided we'd pay a little bit extra. It was only about £10 each more for suite class on the Trans Titicaca bus. Definitely recommend that one. As soon as we got on, the whole focus was on trying to sleep. Lied back. It was a bit like a club class kind of experience. Duvets, some snacks, some food, some drinks, and they encouraged us to be
it's kind of fully reclining beds and was really comfortable.
So we literally woke up and we were in La Paz, so we can't complain. Did sleep really well.
And we met people who had got the cheaper buses, and when we got to La Paz, and they looked like they were.
How did you say? Oh, really bad. Oh, we slept really well.
Yeah.
So without feeling smug, we tried to get an Uber. We think Uber was sort of working. It looked like a car would come, but then it just said attempt failed. So I'm not really sure that it's a particularly reliable place to use Uber. I think they may have the odd car, but clearly not enough. So we ended up just paying a local taxi driver, which is absolutely fine. We got to our Airbnb early, thanks to Carlos at the Airbnb that he let us check in early. There was a concierge. So we had this lovely studio apartment that had everything we needed, especially a washing machine.
And very good value for Airbnbs.
It worked out about £22 a night.
Yeah, and it was really nice.
Yeah, very nice, comfortable bed and a lovely little setup, and we got all the washing done, which was wonderful. After that we spent the afternoon. We went to tourist information. We always try and do that if we can when we go to a location.
Probably the best tourist information we've ever been to.
Really helpful woman called Monica, who explained lots of things further afield as well, but things to do locally. Had some great recommendations. We pretty much did what she said. She also said that tour companies weren't doing the Death Valley cycles,
or at least reputable tour companies weren't doing the Death Valley cycle.
So we had to knock that one on the head, and because it had been raining, you'll know from our previous video, we had so much rain. I was almost happy-ish to not have that choice, but we may well have wanted to go to the Amazon in Ecuador, which would have been
it would have been kind of nice, but basically most of the people in Bolivia, most people said that they were that they'd gone and not really seen anything because of the rain.
Yeah, it was rainy season, so it wasn't cheap. So we decided we would knock that one on the head. So that was really useful tip. So the rest of it was working out our schedule. We were already in town, so we went through the witches market that was there. It just sort of lies behind Basilica San Francisco.
Yeah, the witches market is very touristy, but it's famous for the fact that they have llamas hanging outside a lot of the shops, llama fetuses, and the llama fetuses are buried in the they're buried into the foundations of new buildings as a sort of good luck thing. So kind of weird, but kind of interesting, and it's a very touristy market. So you can get loads of sort of touristy stuff.
Yeah, there's lots of things to go on there. There was an English pub that we walked by a few times. We were heading to we were just having a wander, didn't we?
Yeah,
we went into the square that had the prison.
Yeah, we ended up going through. It's called Plaza de San Pedro, and it has the what's described as the world's craziest prison. It's basically a prison where there aren't prison guards. It's run by the community itself. So the drug lords and the murderers are in charge. They're elected, and they all pay for their cells. So you have sort of various 5 stars for the very top luxurious prison cells, and then people sleeping in the corridors who haven't got any money to pay for them, and families live in it with the prisoners. So people have their families staying if they pay enough.
So they have an education system somehow to bring up the children.
So it's kind of a weird.
Sure what childhood that is.
Kind of a weird setup, and you could, I think, in the past you have been able to go and spend the night. Though I'm not sure I'd necessarily
but interestingly,
wanted to.
from the outside, you just could have easily walked past it.
It's
like, oh, that's that prison we'd read about. So
Yeah.
it's definitely worth going. La Paz was definitely more interesting than we kind of thought it would be. We ended up spending 5 days there in total. So after that, we wandered through to another plaza.
We've basically been told that Monica had suggested places where we could get vegan. We might be able to get vegan food. So we went to Plaza. I'll need to write this in, but it's Abaroa, I think it is. We went and we had a wander around, and we literally just sort of walked past this place, and Sharon, I didn't notice, but there was a massive sign in the window saying vegan food. So we walked into this place called Go Green and had an amazing meal, quite cheap, but it's basically...
Yeah, La Paz generally is pretty cheap,
Yeah.
but they had traditional Bolivian food, but with the meat
cooked
substitutes.
cooked as vegan food.
Yeah, so a little bit processed, but really, really tasty. Wasn't
Yeah.
it? You were in heaven, vegan
Yeah,
heaven.
it was
that's
fantastic.
why.
and lovely to have traditional Bolivian dishes that we wouldn't have been able to have anywhere else, really.
Yeah,
So
'cause a lot of it was
Go
meat-based.
Green was the restaurant. Definitely recommend that. Absolutely
Yeah,
brilliant.
just look it up on Google.
Yeah, not open on Sundays though. So
Yeah, because you would have gone again. We didn't
Yeah.
realise that. But we were fine. That was a really day. So yeah, we went back after that.
Yeah.
After our lovely dinner, the next day we woke up and it was just raining the whole day. But you know, we're Brits, so we thought, right, good day for doing the
Tellurifico. This is the cable cars, and what we thought was we just have a tour around La Paz and El Alto, which is the town that sort of overlooks La Paz. We decided we'd basically take the cable cars around the city, which gives you a fantastic view. We went up on Merida, I think it is, the purple line, up to El Alto and along to the station that's called Estacion Mirador. It has a great view. There isn't a mirador essentially, but you can get a fantastic view from the station itself. We then went straight along to the along that, it's the grey line, the Plateada, I think it is, line, and we went to July the 16th station. Went along to see Cholits, which are these sort of fancy houses. We saw a few. There's one which looked like it's sort of made to look like Iron Man, and a few others. Not fantastic, but we then went down on the red route from Estacion 16th of July. We went down over the top of. There's a regenerated part of La Paz, which has been painted by a Bolivian artist. So it's this very colourful neighbourhood.
Yeah, we'll show the pictures.
Yeah, sure. And you go straight over the top of it. It's called Chualluma, I think. Again, I'll put that in the captions. So we went. You go over the top of that, and then over the top of the central cemetery, which is also kind of an interesting view. And then we went down to there was a tram station.
Yeah, we took some nice pictures there.
Yeah.
It was nice. Just felt a little bit touristy, but nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
It's the history of the trains a bit.
Yeah, it was cool. And
Truly is.
Yeah, and then we went up on the orange route, and up to again another sort of viewpoint at the top of at the top of the hill above La Paz. Went down then on the white route, the Linea Blanca, and back down into the centre of La Paz on the light blue route, back to our apartment. So we had a sort of tour that's basically took us all the way around La Paz.
We kind of did everything but the green line because we were saving the green line.
Yeah, and the yellow. There's a yellow as well we hadn't been on.
Yeah, we got that one. We got them all in the end. But because La Paz is in a valley, it's just ideal for using that. And we should have said that we got the one card. You only need to buy one card. And we just loaded it with how much money we thought we needed. We can put the prices down below.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap.
Just to keep us going for those days, and we were just sort of paying.
Yeah, and the card was a lovely souvenir as well. So it was a sort of nice rainy day activity. Gave us a lovely.
We chatted to the various people along the way. It's just
it was cool.
The thing about travelling is it's so much fun in that way.
Yeah.
Then the next day I think we had those saltine empanadas.
For dinner.
On our way back.
We went to Papa Eli's, which is and we went.
It's kind of a fast foodish chain, but it was very nice. They have branches all over the place.
Yeah, and saltenas are the Bolivian version of empanadas, and they had vegan ones. They had veggie ones.
So I don't think we cooked at all the whole time we were there, even though we were in Airbnb. Maybe pasta ones. So that was fun. The next day the weather was a little bit better, so we had a cultural day, starting with a guided tour at the Basilica San Francisco, which is the main hub really of.
It's like a private tour as well, because not that many people seem to do it, but it's quite interesting.
Yeah, we enjoyed it. Yeah, I learnt a little bit. It's got the monastery attached, and there's some nice views and things from there.
Yeah.
I would say worth doing. It wasn't expensive. Nothing in La Paz was expensive.
Yeah.
What did we do the rest of that
We
day?
went
Yes,
to.
we had the weirdest evening, didn't we? That was the day we had our weird evening.
We actually, before we did the weirdest evening, we walked through the centre, and there's a Plaza Murillo, I think it is, and there's a clock that goes backwards, which is sort of in the centre. It's kind of in memorial
really
for the indigenous communities and the time before the Spanish. And then we sort of wandered through. It was by then it was chucking rain again, as it does in La Paz quite often during rainy season. But then we went to the Fighting Cholits, which was
another recommendation from Monica and the tourist information.
Yeah.
That we didn't have to go back up to El Alto. I think if you do it in El Alto, they probably have more.
It's more probably authentic experience.
But it was definitely a very weird night, and we got the message of how.
Yeah.
How
so
that
the Fighting
is.
Cholits are female wrestlers. It's WWF, so it's very stylized and kind of controlled and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But basically, they fight in traditional Bolivian dress, and they beat up the refs and they beat up the men. And
it's kind of more of a show, really, but it was fun, and it's definitely a touristy thing to do. There was other people that we'd met on our journeys up there as well that were there, and so it was a lot of camaraderie and a bit of fun.
Good fun. Went to the and we had dinner afterwards at the Cafe del Mundo.
Which has got, it's on various different levels. I think lots of other people have talked about it. We saw it on YouTube actually, and you just chose which part you wanted to.
Yeah. And I think on the way back we bought your jacket thing, which the Patagonia jacket from Taylor Victor, who basically sews them up and then sews on the Patagonia label for you
for a tenth of the cost.
Yeah,
why wouldn't you?
Yeah, so it was
seemed pretty well made too. I love that top, and really handy for that climate that we were having at that point.
Again, if you almost everybody goes through La Paz seems to end up with one of those tops.
Well, I think a lot of the backpackers don't have really warm clothes, and suddenly because of the altitude, La Paz is a bit of a it's like England here. So that was fun. So cool. Thank you for persuading me to buy that.
Yeah. And then the next day we did another Valle de Luna. We got on a taxi in these taxis, shared taxis, they're like 6-seaters. Got on a taxi from the centre of La Paz, took it to Valle de Luna, and we had a little tour around Valle de la Luna, which was kind of interesting.
Very. Cool. It's actually quite more compact and obviously different height levels.
Little walk
very
around.
Different from the experience in San Pedro de Atacama.
But
Valley of the Moon, but equally different.
Quite cool. And then we came back on the bus. We found an Argentinian who helped us. Came back on the bus and caught the bus from just outside Valle de la Luna, and then got back onto the green line of the cable car system, the Teleférico.
Then did we get the yellow as well on the way
back?
And
we got the yellow on the way back, and we got off at Sopocachi station, and were able to walk back through Sopocachi, which is sort of a posh area of La Paz. Walk back through Sopocachi to home,
we really felt that we had a really great fill of that. And
we did have a little run around afterwards because we got some cash out. Sharon got some cash out and actually managed to leave the card in the ATM. So the cash comes out and then the card comes out, which is different from what you get in the UK.
You can't do that in the UK because you have to take your card. But we had noticed that evening, rushed back, and then worked out. It was handed into a company, pretty much where if I was handing a card in, that's where I would have handed it in. So very grateful. I think the people were Dutch. We could tell something was happening after we took the money out. We didn't think it was.
Anyway, so we got the card back, and that was all the massive relief. And then the next day was we were off to Galapagos. We had a bit of a planning day, and then I got off to Galapagos.
Yeah, we extended another day with the Airbnb because it was so cheap, and the flights to Galapagos were cheap. So we got some. Next video's got some real top tips about getting to Galapagos cheaply and efficiently.
Keep on following, keep on liking, keep
like
on
and
subscribing,
and we will see you in the Galapagos.